beautiful aerial coverage being brought to you by Goodyear. Get there on Silent Armor Technology. Goodyear blimp flying up above today. And what a gorgeous day here in Pocono.
Boy, it really is. I've been coming here for a long time, over 20 years now, and I don't know that I ever remember seeing a prettier day here. Now, we probably have had some that were equally as nice, but they've never been a prettier day here.
We've had rain-shortened races or rain-delayed races here, and normally rain comes into play, but not a whisper of a cloud in the sky today. Letting them know next time by, they'll go around one more lap before we get the green flag. Jim Trado, what's going on with Quapple?
Checking in with his team now as crew chief is Jeff Campy, working with Travis on the radio. He's talking about fuel strategy right now. As a matter of fact, they made the wrong adjustment on the wedge. They had to come back in and change it. Came back in 2 laps later and added more fuel. So we're going to ask Jeff Campy. Jeff, with the strategy playing out as it does, can you guys now make it on one more stop?
I think so. I think we can. It looks like it. It'll be close. You know, you never know. But that's usually not our strategy. But you know, and maybe today it might be.
Again, with the wrong wedge adjustment, but Bell might pay off big for Travis Quapple. Last time he was here, he won from the pole position for Penske 2 years ago.
Yeah, as Jim reported earlier, the reason he came down pit road, and he actually came down pit road while it was close, so he will have to restart from the tail end of the longest line because he had that left front tire that Jim talked about that had gone down. So it was a big break. Even though Travis pitted early, if he could have ridden another lap around the racetrack here, another 2.5 miles, and that tire actually went down to the wheel, it could have destroyed the bodywork on that number 99. And as you can see right now, there's no damage whatsoever. So it was a great heads-up call by Travis to get that car into pit road, and for Jeff Campy to bring him in and not take a chance of ruining the front bodywork.
Take a look at the car right in front of Travis Quapple. That's Darrell Basham in that number 34. And on the hood of the car, they've given him a congratulations. This is Darrell Basham's 200th ARCA RE Series start. It started way back in 1972, Phil.
Yeah, how about that? Darrell Basham is one of the guys that we count on week in, week out here in the ARCA RE Series, showing up and trying to run competitively, and it's great to see him celebrate this milestone today.
Back in 72, his first ever race, he finished 11th in that. His career best came in 74 and 75, where he finished 5th at Salem. So he's been doing this for 35 years. And we are about to go back to green flag racing. The pace car will make its way off of the racetrack. Again, Landon Castle had taken over the top spot
just before that caution flag came out. So
back into the gas. Landon Castle pulling away from Bobby Santos as they go down the long straightaway.
You know, Rick, one of the things we haven't talked about, we talk about how challenging this racetrack is. Unlike the Nextel Cup Series, where they have an actual transmission rule on which third gear you can have, ARCA does not have that rule. So these guys will be shifting at least once, if not twice, a lap here. So that adds, it's like running a road course with all left-hand turns.
Turn number 1 seems like it is a very, in relation to turns 2 and 3, but turn number 1 seems like it's a tight turn. And so is that where you're going to get down into third gear and then work your way up to the tunnel turn?
Yeah, all the drivers will shift in turn 1, actually downshift to third gear. And then some of the drivers will actually shift on the long pond straightaway back up to high and then back down to third gear for the tunnel turn. Some of the drivers will just leave it in third gear all the way back around till you get just about to the start finish line.
Bobby Santos currently trying to chase down the 22 of Josh Wise. Winnie, what's going on with the 0-2?
You were talking about turn 1, how it's so difficult for a driver. Well, under our last caution, Bobby Santos' crew chief, which is Tommy Baldwin today on the pit box, was telling him right there, when you go into turn 1, you're good, but then you start to overdrive it right about there. So when he's under caution, he was coaching him on how to get around the track. But here's what's interesting. On top of the pit box today, as Justin Marks gets in the wall.
Yep, Justin Marks, we just talked about that tricky turn number 1. Justin Marks talked to us just before we came over here, and he said, you know, I had some problems in turn number 1, but we didn't do too much damage. We brought back the same exact car. Well, he's got more damage today.
Yeah, he lost an engine back in June going in turn number 1 and just did a heck of a job not destroying that car, but a lot of damage to the right front corner, probably all the entire right side of that 65 car.
Take a look and see how this happened.
That's Brian Silas's on board right here. Looked like he locked
maybe a left front again.
Yeah, locked the brakes up. He may have cut down that left front tire, and we had a lot of trouble with the left front tire here in June. We had probably 6 or 8 different cars that cut down left front tires, and we saw a lot of damage to a lot of those cars, so hopefully we're not going to see a repeat of that.
Disappointing ending to the second running here at Pocono. We'll be right back with more. Welcome back to Long Pond, Pennsylvania. It's the Pennsylvania 200 for the ARCA RE Series. We've completed 12 laps of the 80 scheduled. Landon Castle, the 18-year-old, out in front of this field. Josh Wise currently in the second position. There's Michael McDowell on pit road right now. And the number 2, our most recent winner in the ARCA RE Series, currently second in the points.
2 right side tires going on the Z-Line Designs Dodge out of the Eddie Sharp stable. There's Bobby Gerhardt, the Eagle Warranty Chevrolet, our Daytona winner. Won Daytona about 65 times, I think.
It seems like anytime there's a racetrack that's 2.5 miles and there's going to be drafting, we know Bobby Gerhardt's going to be up front.
Yeah, not a lot of cars took advantage of this caution flag to come down pit road. We only saw about a half a dozen cars. Bobby Gerhardt, Michael McDowell, just a couple more cars that came down pit road. Joey Miller in the 32 Country Joe car also came down pit road. There's Bobby Gerhardt making his way back out on the front straightaway.
Well, don't forget the Speed Performance Awards are coming up at season's end. Hopefully you're keeping track of your favorite moves. First half of this race season's been exciting and controversial, so who better to take a look at what's on tap for the awards than SpeedTV.com's Robin Miller.
Hi, Robin Miller from Speed TV again. You know, in the 40 years I've covered auto racing, it's a rarity these days to hear the right stuff. You know, the joy of when the PR fire extinguishers can't stop the oncoming penalty party. Can you say personality? Yes. That's why this 2007 Speed Performance Award category is my favorite. A fine wine, if you will. Officially, it's the Tell It Like It Is award.
What a run today, by the way, for the 41 car of Pruitt, and there's contact. Montoya and Pruitt come together. Montoya.
Of all the people to take you out, your teammate. I mean, that was just no good, low, nasty, dirty driving. I mean, I can't even put it into words. It's just so disappointing. We talk about it and talk about it and talk about it and talk about it in the meetings. If he's faster than me, you know, we'll work it out. He can go, you know, but not take each other out. That's just bad driving.
If I was to finish second fair and square, that's fine. But the way Robert drove today, to me, is completely not like him. I think he's much better than that. He knows exactly what he's done.
Yes, sir. A lot of give and take there. He's going to go bump and run here. They're going to drag race to the finish line. Yes! Kyle Busch in the 5. What are you going to remember most about that restart and this race today?
That I'm still not a very big fan of these things. I can't stand to drive when they suck.
The beauty of this, folks, you can decide who's whining, pining, and who really does tell it like it is. Well, this is quite true. In November, the final nominees for the 2007 Speed Performance Awards, driven by B.F. Goodrich, will be ready for the tally, only by logging on to SpeedTV.com.
You know, Phil, in this day and age, it's good to hear guys tell it like it is, not hold back their words.
It really is, and we had a case last weekend in Indianapolis that Tony Stewart kind of told it like it was at the end of the race, but it cost him 25 grand and 25 points. But, yeah, I love to see that, and not necessarily what Tony did and whatever. I'm sure Tony probably regrets that. But, you know, Scott Pruitt, we saw the emotion on his face. I mean, he looked like he was going to win or finish second that Busch race in Mexico City, and he got taken out by his teammate. And that's awfully tough to take, but sometimes that's racing.
Make sure to take a look at SpeedTV.com for Tell It Like It Is. This is the reason why we are under our second caution of the day. It's the 65 of Justin Marks having problems in turn number 1. He gets into the wall. Safety crews are continuing to clean up that area in turn number 1. We'll be back with more racing right here on Speed. The ARCA RE Series, race 14 of the 2007 season. Unique Raceway, 3 turns around this 2.5-mile racetrack. Out in front of the field, it's still Landon Castle, Josh Wise, 1 and 2. Bobby Santos has dropped back into the 3rd position after starting on the pole. Then Jeremy Clements currently running 4th, and right behind him in the 98, Aaron Crocker. Now, a guy who was up front that has dropped back because of coming down pit road, the 2 of Michael McDowell, Phil.
Yeah, it's not bad strategy. We know now that he's in a window that he can make this race on one more stop. And so oftentimes we see a fuel mileage come into play here, and guys able to do it. And as we get ready to go back to racing here.
So the pace car makes its way off of the racetrack, back in the hands of Landon Castle. Another great start for Landon. He gets about 4 car lengths in front of Josh Wise as he makes his way toward turn number 1. Now, brakes have got to be an issue at this racetrack also, Phil.
You use as much brake as you have getting in turn number 1. And that looked like what happened to Justin Marks, as we can see Aaron Crocker in the 98 trying to get by the 3 of Jeremy Clements. He got down in the corner. Looked like he wiggled a little bit, because you use all the brakes you can get getting down in turn number 1, and then he wiggled a little bit, and then when the car actually straightened back out, looked like he hit the brakes a little bit harder, locked up the brakes, and that may have helped him get into the outside wall. But you see, oh, a little contact. Jeremy Clements makes some contact with the 0-2. You see smoke already from the left front fender on Bobby Santos' car.
So a little wheel rub now for Bobby Santos in that 0-2 as there was contact between Bobby Santos and Jeremy Clements, and now we see the 98, Aaron Crocker, trying to get by that 0-2.
Yeah, that's not something that he wants to stay out with. It. The crew will determine as they look at this car to make sure where that tire is rubbing. If it's rubbing in the top of the tire, that probably wouldn't be that big a deal. But if it's rubbing anywhere on the side, looks like the 0-2 is slowing down now. He may just try to back off a little bit and here see if he can make it to pit road here. No sense taking a chance, is there, Wendy?
No, absolutely not, Phil. We will have Bobby Santos on pit road shortly. He does have a left front going down as he slowed down, and he should be on pit road in just a moment. And also slow is the 98 of Aaron Crocker.
Aaron Crocker, for some reason, when she went through turn number 1, she slowed way down on the racetrack. She's backing up about as fast as Bobby Santos is now.
Yeah, you know, Aaron Crocker lost a couple left front tires here back in June. Now, we hope that's not the case here. Looks like she
was quite a bit off the pace through 1.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that the tire's down. Looks like she's actually getting a little bit more speed under her right now. Or a lot happening right here in a short period of time. Let's see if she's going to stay out on the racetrack.
I believe she will. The Dodge Charger going back up to speed now as she comes down the front straightaway.
I'm not sure exactly what. And it looks like she's able to maintain her speed down the straightaway. So it could very well have been an ignition problem as we see the 0-2 of Bobby Santos trying to make his way around the access road.
He'll make his way onto pit road. They're going to have to do a little bit of work to the left front fender there, as there was the tire rub taking place this last time by when he went through turn number 1. And again, Jeremy Clements and he got into each other.
Yeah, that tough break for Bobby Santos. So, you know, we've had some left front tire issues in the past, but that looked like that was just a situation where the 3 of Jeremy Clements and the 0-2 of Bobby Santos made some contact. And here's a couple of guys having a good run. There's Frank Kimmel. He's all the way up to the 4th position. Started way back in 19th. And Dexter Bean started 33rd, and he's up to the 5th position.
33rd officially, but he had to go back because of a unapproved adjustment. They had a radiator hose that went bad in qualifying, and so they made adjustment to that. So he had to go a little bit further back. So those 2 have moved their way toward the front. Wendy.
Well, Bobby Santos has 2 left side tires fresh. He's already gone away, but of course the Bill Davis Racing team pulled out that left front fender. The over-the-wall crew is the same one for Jeremy Mayfield in the Nextel Cup Series. They did an excellent job. He's back on the track, but an unfortunate circumstance for Bobby Santos.